What's going on, y'all? Nick? Yeah. And I'm with my brother.
This is Pastor James Eugene, and I like to welcome all the night walkers in my congregation for redemption. How you doing, Nick? Welcome to the Eugene Brothers Show.
I'm doing good, man. So we have a video from the YouTuber Dayton Wright. Please support his channel. He's doing a very phenomenal job. But he called his video "Woman Rebranding as Church Girls to Find a Husband." This one should be very good. If you like the video, please like, subscribe, comment down below. But let's just get right to it. All right, yeah.
Do not understand why a lot of women be trying to sit up and rebrand as a church girl, because church girls are the worst. Like, I was raised in the church my whole life, and I prayed for a big booty just so I could take dudes' money.
You know how these women is these days. You never know. You never know. That's the beauty of it.
Swallowed up. Have you ever been swallowed up? Have you gone through a time of swallowing where everything was over?
You're gonna lose it when I tell you that I'm a whore. And I say this, that church auntie that's overly religious, she used to be a hoe. She used to be a hoe. You're judging people like she was only on her knees for Jesus.
If you didn't know, a hoe's final form is a religious woman.
That's how all the old hoes got rid of their stuff. They become Jesus freaks. Oh, I'm a church lady now. Oh, I'm on the usher board. Oh, praise, whatever. Or I'm spiritual. I meditate. Them all the old hoes. Okay. If you find a super spiritual woman, she an old hoe.
So before we go any further, right? Because
No.
this is very interesting because we're seeing that apparently they saying that these women, right, they rebranding or as we call it, cosplaying as church girls, right? Um, what's going on in your opinion, James?
Man, this is how you know the church has fallen down badly. Like, Jesus ain't taken seriously no more.
Was he
It's
ever?
just like, because it's just like the church, what they promote is just like you could do whatever you want. And then when you come to Jesus, everything will be fun. So it's just like that gives room for people to play, do their little dirt, and then when life hits them very hard, oh man, I got to come back to religion. And it's not only Christianity. This happens in Islam too,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of sad, man, because honestly, I think there's a big aspect of it of like these women out here, they they desire a man, right? That's clear. But in the process of desiring a man, they've done wasted all their good years, being night walkers, 304s, women of the street, you name it. And now they want to settle down, but they know that men innately don't want that, which is weird, right? Like they want to haul around and do their dirt in their youth, but now they can't find nobody. So now you want to rebrand yourself, right? Now you want to be the goody girl, the good girl, the church girl, and it's just like, why didn't you do that from the jump? You know what I'm saying? So now we're talking about the sincerity. Is it even sincere? These women that are coming into these, churches, is
This
just
this is why a lot of men are leaving now, yo. They just like deuces. I don't want to be here. Like it's just like if this is what I gotta pick from, is this what I gotta pick from? Like that's what the question these men are asking.
yeah.
It's just like I could have had you when I was not in the church. So why I gotta be in the church to have you?
Or a former hoe. Most of them. Okay. So if you run into an extremely religious woman, she's an old hoe. If you run into an extremely spiritual hotep, she's an old hoe.
The church ain't no different nowadays because they don't live holy in the church no more. Y'all better watch your man if you want to keep him. Praise God. Don't let him take her nowhere. If you ain't in the car, say no. In old school, they didn't allow us to ride around with nobody's husband. I'm telling you now, you may laugh at me and think I'm crazy, but I'm trying to tell you, hold your man. Because if he keep telling Sister Sue and Sister Ruth here and yonder, it's going to be on and popping pretty soon. A man ain't going to get a whip of a woman and keep on getting the whip of a woman, and for next thing you know, some wrong thinking coming. Come on now, to quit being so naive and being crazy. He said, watch as well as pray. You got to be up on the holes of the church. Don't think when you go up in the church, the whole is all living holy. If they're living holy, they're going to dress it. If they ain't dressing, that's what you got to watch. Amen.
And it's probably better to go to the black church because it's not like going to the club or nothing like that. You ain't got to worry about drinks. You ain't got to spend no money. It's free. They all in there now. Most of them single mothers. We know that.
So this guy is giving advice that if you're trying to look for girls, he's actually saying go to this church because you don't gotta buy drinks, you don't gotta do nothing. So that's like totally wow. So and that's one thing I was thinking about what you were saying, right, James, where you were just like, I forgot how you phrased it, but pretty much like that's the
I
reason
said,
why.
if
Hold on,
I
wait.
said,
I remember you was like, if that's the reason why men are leaving the church, because they could find these girls elsewhere. But this guy's saying like, nah, this is why you should be in the church because the girls are in there and they freaks. And it's just like, honestly, bro, I actually think that men, as much as women have been pushing the narrative for years that like they want a man, a godly man who takes God seriously. I actually think the reality is that men, by and large, they always generally, on average, take God more seriously. They just tend to be a lot more spiritual and things of that sort. And I think a lot of times what we're seeing is that if the men are leaving church, I don't think it's because they don't have to be in the church to find women. I don't think that's why they're leaving. I think they're leaving because I just think it's a game at this point. And I think there's a lot of guys who are sincere that actually are trying to find, truth, and they just not getting it from these Christian pastors. And they definitely not finding love in the church. You know what I'm saying? These women look just like the quote unquote world, right?
Mhm.
Uh,
What bad do you know that's trying to go to church right now? What bad do you know right now that's trying to get into the word? That only happens after she's had 2-3 babies. She's been over in life. You might meet a that's a felon, an ex-stripper. These when they try to change their life, the first place they go is the church.
Okay, so there's been a lot of discussion lately about the topic of, are we seeing more women run back to the church simply to find a husband? They have been calling it from the club to the church pipeline. Let's get right into this.
Hey, can I ask you something? Have you noticed a trend of young women between the ages of like 25 to 35 becoming more hyper religious when they want to find husbands? Maybe it's just because it's in the Bible Belt, but I find that a lot of young women who, if they're not married by 25, who I've never seen mention religion or go to church, have now become like a Bible thumper, and they're now in the church every week. And if they've genuinely found their thing and want to be in the church, that's fine. But I've noticed that when talking to a lot of these women, their intention is now to find a husband in the church. So now they're going to church and almost cosplaying what they think a religious traditional woman should be. And they're doing this all in hopes of landing a husband and wanting to get married. On the contrary, though, I don't see young men their age going to church for that same reason, with the intention of only finding a wife. And it could be like a regional thing, because I do live in the Bible Belt, but I'm noticing it's like a trend where young women are now like flocking to the church, and they're doing this all with the intention of finding quote unquote God-fearing men. And I'm just like, if you put on a masquerade or start to cosplay as something that may not be authentically you, and you now get into a situation where you now get married, are you genuinely going to be living life how you want to live life, or are you going to be forever cosplaying to appease this image that you've now put on for yourself? And I could be wrong, they could just be going to church because they want to go to church, but the majority that I've talked to have mentioned something along the lines of, I'm going to church in hopes of finding my husband.
So she's saying from the women that she's talked to who go to church, this is something that they're telling her that, yeah, I'm going to church to find a husband. But at the same time, time, I don't know if they said that in a joking matter or did they really mean it. But she bring up a good point because a lot of these women will play actress for the rest of their lives, play a role of a Christian religious woman. But I don't know why women would go back to the church thinking they're gonna land a man.
Yeah, I agree. Why would they think that? If the men are statistically leaving the church, why would they go to a Christian? You know what I'm saying? Why would they go to church in hopes of finding a man? You're not gonna find a man, right?
No, not
So
at all.
I just don't get that. I think furthermore too is that the cosplaying aspect of it, right? It's just like, isn't it kind of sad to an extent? Because it's just like these these women, if they lying to themselves, right? Essentially, it's just like they're gonna have to live the rest of your life lying to yourself. You're gonna have to live the rest of your life not truly believing in this, but just because you wanted a husband, you try to play the part. I don't know. That's some life to live, man. Let's go.
Husband. But at the same time, I don't know if they said that in a joking matter or did they really mean it. But she bring up a good point because a lot of these women will play actress for the rest of their lives, play a role of a Christian religious woman. But I don't know why women would go back to the church thinking they're gonna land a man.
A lot of millennial Instagram hoes are turning into evangelical Christians, and I think this is so predictable. Maybe 20 of the biggest influencers have turned evangelical Christian or Muslim or some other religion. And I don't know if this is swaying other younger girls who follow them to also turn to religion. And I also don't know if these women are turning to religion from men. Like maybe they got into a relationship with someone who wanted them to change their ways, or if they just were over their old lifestyle. As someone who was formerly referred to as the Samantha of the group and is now an evangelical Christian myself, I must say that I like it over on this side of the street, but I'm wondering how much of this is like a new fad or if these girls are actually turning into Christians.
Yes, is this performative or is God and the church truly something that these women are truly seeking, or are they doing this for companionship?
And I think maybe some of these girls also were like undercover Christian, or maybe some of these girls just wanted to get really popular and they know that there are definitely some Christian influencers who get popular talking about God and talking about the Bible. But in general, when you talk about that stuff and you talk about any of your beliefs, you turn people off. And I talk about God all the time. I talk about things, put that on my story, whatever. Least views, least saves, least amount of shares. I think it's really funny. I don't know if you guys also see this trend, but I wonder if this is like women becoming more conservative, or it's just this certain subset of like OnlyFans girls and Instagram hoes.
So I don't see nothing wrong with like turning to God, if you genuinely desire to have that type of connection. But if you got to turn to God just so you can get you a man, that means that your coochie is
There's something wrong with this.
So yeah, you did you see this girl? She's literally clowning other women because she's saying that if you gotta resort to going, to church to find a man, that your coochie, the cootie cat was trash. And I'm just like, you see what I'm saying? It's like that's what's in these women's mind. And I think that's the thing, right? Again, I've learned a long time ago that whenever you try to point the finger at other people, a lot of times you're just projecting what's truly in your own mind. You know what I'm saying? Women for years been trying to talk to about men and try to talk about how like all they think about is sex and all this stuff. But I honestly believe at a point that that's what they think about. Oh, I see Bugatti mods in the house, man. Good to see you, my brother. He said, playing the role is foul, but finding a husband in church is the right move. And who knows, the true Christian man may bring her to Christ through his character. She will see how Jesus can change her too. Now, and hey, you good to see you first and foremost. But yeah, man, I think you're right. I think you're right because and we're gonna touch on that too. But you know, I think what's sad about what this girl just said is that you're clowning these women for going to church, right? And I think in the process of doing it, reducing it to only sex, is that sometimes we miss out on the bigger picture too, which is that what if they actually did find Jesus? What if they actually are trying to, you know, change their lives? Because one of the first things I think about is like Rahab the harlot. And you know about Rahab the harlot, right, James?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my mindset. Just like what if, like Rahab the harlot, what if they generally this, are trying to change their lives? Do you think it's possible that you could change your life, James?
The question is, I think it's possible to change your life, yeah, for sure. But is Christianity the truth? That's the question. Are these women entering the truth? Are they going to a church that's biblically sound? And I say no. I don't think so. And this is why a lot of men left. Men like order, men like strict rules, men like discipline, men like, you know, meticulous step by step things. This is why a lot of men resonate with the Old Testament. It's only through indoctrination that they're just like they fall in love with Christianity because they just don't know any better, right? So these women, they gallivanting, right? They doing whatever they need to do, get it out of their system. But then when they come back to the church, guess what? There's no man. So what they say as an excuse, oh, I'm married to God. I'm married to Jesus. Like we hear these stories all the time. It's just like, nah, it's just like, yo, if I was an immoral person, I would definitely become a pastor. I would have the pick of the litter.
Oh boy.
I would, like, hey, I'm serious, man.
Hey, yo,
I can
it's
see why
like
some
your boy TD Jakes. Swallow him.
swallow.
Yo, that's crazy. Well, let's get back to this. Let me see this.
And so you can get you a man, that means that your coochie is whack, 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 whack.
I used to wonder when I first got saved, I used to wonder why the older women in the church were so thirsty. Yeah, this is a safe place. We just gonna call it out. I used to wonder why they were so thirsty. I used to wonder why when there was a new man in the church or everybody wanted deacon such and such or this person or everybody didn't slept with this musician. This is a safe place. I used to always wonder what was going on with them older women. I was just like, dang. I'm like, well, okay, age, maybe they feel like their time, the clock is ticking out and then that whole thing. And I didn't grow up in church, but I've had 9 men tell me, oh, God told me that you were my wife. I stopped believing that at 3. Yep. Because
At
that's me,
3.
Sue.
Yeah, that's wild. Who the hell approached that at 3 years old? Okay.
That church is out of order.
Yeah.
What?
That's not
Out of
Jesus.
order.
But it's that whole, oh, I believe the Lord is telling me that you're my husband or you're my wife and all of this good stuff. And I'm just like, yeah. And I just never really got caught up in it. Like I said, I've had several men tell me I was their wife, but clearly I'm still single. So
9 men have told her that, and she couldn't keep none of these 9 men she met. Like, what happened?
My thing is this. I never thought that I would be 43 and never been married, not engaged, not a prospect, not nothing. And I now understand those church women.
Wow. 43 years old. 43 years old, and she is still single. And
You
the
know
thing,
what?
I'm gonna let you speak, but
Right.
still single, and she's saying now I understand those old church women. But you see, just like Daden Wright said when he interjected, he said that 9 men. Even I see Johnny X Torpedo, 9 men though, and she's still single. That's what I'm thinking too. 9 men approach this woman. So if you're single because you chose to be single. Don't say that the opportunities didn't arise.
At 3. So she's 43.
She had 40 years
So
worth.
40 years? What's going on here? This is crazy. No, but in all seriously and honesty, me and Michael were speaking yesterday, and
For the viewers, who's Michael?
Michael is the third brother.
Hmm.
So a lot of people in church, they want God to like show up in clouds and lightning, show up in a dream that's magnificent with an angel that says, "Behold, fear not, for this is the Lord's message." This is how they operate.
Yeah.
It's just like, and one of the and I like to bring out James. He says faith without works is dead.
Come on.
And these people, the minute I say James and I say that, they're gonna go like, "Oh no!" They're gonna pull me to Paul and misinterpret misinterpret the whole scriptures.
Yeah.
But if you want a husband, if you want a wife, seek for them. It's so simple. The same way you had the balls to go to have your relationship before you get married is the same way you find a husband and a wife.
Indeed.
You just go up to them, actually apply wisdom, find out what the compatibility, find out what they like, their religion, what they believes, and then you propose.
No, but bro, these men did that. There's 9 men who did that, and she rejected. See, this is the thing, right? I remember. Maybe many of guys heard of this too, right? There used to be this funny story back in the day where it's like a meme where this guy's drowning and he's like, God, please save me. And I think there's like a ship that goes by, and the
Yep,
ship, the guy just like, hey man, and throws like a life jacket at him or a rafter, and he just
yep,
like, get out of here. I'm gonna depend on God. and then
yep.
and then the Most High brings another person,
A
right?
boat.
A boat, and the guy like, hey man, you want to join? Come in the boat. Get out of here. I'm waiting on God, right? And it's just like the guy
And
ends up
God sends him
drowning.
a helicopter.
Well, okay, whatever. But the guy ends up drowning, right? And he go, I first of all, truth be told, with that mindset, I don't know how he ended up in heaven, but that's the meme. He ends up in heaven, and he's like, God, why didn't you save me? And God is like, yo, dude, I sent you a boat, a life jacket, and a helicopter. Like, nigga, you the one that messed up, right? And it's just like, it goes back to what you said, right? Like, what are they asking for? Like, God, they super spiritualize how God operates, I think, and they want like this super fantastical, very spookyism, like spookism, right? In order
Mhm.
for God to operate, but no, sometimes God is gonna send regular people in your life, and
The,
you
the
got
problem
yeah. Go ahead,
the
go ahead.
problem is people don't like the package in which the help comes in. God sends you a man, God sends you a woman, but you reject it because you're like, nah, this ain't it. This ain't it, God. She don't look cute enough. Oh, she don't got a big butt. Oh, nah, he don't make enough money. Nah, God, I can't do how what the Lord would not give me a man that makes less than 6 figures. This is from the devil.
Hmm. That yo, that's deep, and 'cause we could really talk about that. But it's just like, what if women out there, right? What if your man was Job? Could you endure? Mind you, we know that Job was so righteous, in fact, that God gambled, said, "Nah, man, I'm a bet on this dude right here. This dude is perfect, upright in all his ways, a man that eschews evil." And Satan's like, "Nah, he's only this way because you gave him everything. I bet if you curse him, he's gonna curse you to your face." And what if you were Job's wife, right? And you had to endure all of that? Would you be just like his wife? How about you just curse God and die? You see a lot. That's what I'm saying. People don't really know what it really means to be with a man of God. They don't. It sounds cute to just say like, yeah, I want a man of God, but bro, I don't know not one dude in that Bible that didn't go through some crazy trial.
But now, Nick, let me ask you this. Why would these girls now, after running the block, They spun around mad times on the block, right? They done slept with Tom, Dick, and Harry, the cousin, the father, the grandfather. They done went here, went there. Now, why would they do all of that and now try to find religion? You don't
Yeah.
think about that. You don't think they knew what they was doing was wrong in the first place?
Of course. They didn't care. They didn't care. Man, let's go back to this.
Now, I don't actively go to church at the moment, preferably. But I think I understand. I think I understand. Now that my daughter's in college, my son lives with his dad. I'm the only one here, and I work all day.
You see, check this out. Check this out. Peep, fellas, please peep that. You see, these are the details. It's easy to just say I'm 43 and I finally understand, what these old women in church feel like. But the details is that, hold on, 9 dudes approached you and said that God told me to marry you. You denied them all. But guess what? Did y'all peep that she said she has children? So you didn't want to get married to them. You didn't want to stay with your baby daddy, right? But you opened up your legs and had children?
This don't make no sense.
Is that not, as Abba would say, a sickness? It's a sickness. Something's wrong.
Yeah.
You see, and this is what I mean. She, first of all, she even said out of her own mouth she don't even go to church. She don't even go to church. So this is the kind of stuff we're talking about, where just like, here you are, you opened your legs up, got children, but you didn't marry not one of those dudes. And now that you're 43, you see, and this is the harsh reality that Kevin Samuels brought out, that we try to bring out. Do you think you are a better catch at 43? These are
Mm-hmm.
these are painful conversations, though. Do you
Yeah.
think you are a better catch at 43?
Mm-hmm. So it's just like you couldn't find a righteous man to give children to, but you chose these knuckleheads and bums to give children to. That's pretty much the logic. And I could see why men don't go to church, because it's not worth it. Like, the church is absolutely buffoonery right now.
Yeah.
Like, this thing is crazy because if you read Proverbs 1, it says that wisdom gives you success, it gives you prosperity, it gives you riches, right? When you read Proverbs 1, 2, and 3, it says wisdom prevents you from calamity, of the day of calamity.
Right.
The problem is, when bad stuff happens to people, this is when they start seeking wisdom, when they should be seeking wisdom from before, so that way they could prevent these negative experiences from happening. That's the problem.
Right.
We have all this knowledge, but we lack wisdom as the Black community. And this is why we're going through this messed up cycle that we're in right now.
And I come home to a peaceful house with no one here. And you see people's marriages, and I'm an Uber driver. I'm taking couples on dates and all of that good stuff. I had a guy in my car today that was surprising his wife and taking her to Italy and Paris. And I was just like, huh. Like, it's not about the things that he said. It's about the fact that he loves his wife. And I was just like, dang, was I like a terrible person in a former life? Like, was I horrible in my youth? Like,
No, you was a terrible person probably in this life. This is, and it's sad that I gotta say that, 'cause I'm not really trying to attack this girl. I'm not. But you see, a lot of people try to deflect and try to. You see, this is that too is a form of a lack of accountability. To try to put it off on a former life, which I don't know how you believe in that if you're a Christian anyway. But try to, oh, maybe it was this former life was this person that's causing me to have trouble now. No, no, no. It's the choices and decisions that you made in this life. That's the reality. That's why we are in, every single one of us are in the situation. I see you disagree. Go ahead, James.
Yeah. So I don't disagree with you. It's not, the thing is I don't think you have to be a bad person for you to experience negative consequences. I think if you lack knowledge, when you become oblivious, when you're in a complete state of oblivion, you know nothing. Bad stuff can happen to you because you don't have the knowledge to mitigate it. This is why we live with some of us, when we get older, we live with regret. We say, if we were younger or if we knew this, perhaps a change would have happened. You see? So it may not be, it could be someone is foolish, because they're just ignorant, they learn wisdom and they ignored it, or people were just oblivious. Those are the two things.
Like, how come I'm not lovable? I've had men tell me that they love me, and I've had guys say they wanted to marry me, all of that good stuff, but I'm still single. And I come home alone. And I understand that I have the Lord. Trust me, I do. But at the same time, that doesn't stop the fact that I understand those church women now. I understand when a fine man walk in, is every woman for herself. Like, I get it. It's not a good feeling to be older and you see people around you celebrating their 10th, 15th, 20th, 30th anniversary, and you're like, yeah, I haven't made it more than 6 months. So, I don't know. That's my TED Talk for today. I don't know if anybody else understands those church mothers and those church women that we always talk about, but we mess around and become one of them. So, yeah. Lord.
Ma'am, we appreciate your honesty, but if you had 9, 10 men tell you that God told them you're gonna be their wife, you need to hang in there. I'm pretty sure it's possible you can snag up one of them, because you still got men approaching and coming at you. But I think a lot of church women need to find other places to go to meet men than just thinking they're gonna run into them in the church. These church women still got to put themselves out there.
A whole final form is religious. A whole last resort is becoming super religious. What was I supposed to do? Stay a hoe forever? Oh, I know what it is. Y'all mad because all the daughters of Christ are rising up in this generation and you can't hit anymore.
Look, it's crazy. It's so funny because she's right. Like, I get what she's trying to say, but look at how they talking about final form. Like, this is some DBZ. Like, like they just powering up.
This is my final form. My first form was a night walker, but now this is super Christian #1.
Yo, fellas, if any girl has blonde hair, nah, don't trust it, man. They cosplaying, bro.
Instead of Kamehameha, they like John 3:16.
Yo, this is crazy. But like, I feel her because she's right. Like, and this is why I was saying that I guess to be empathetic to their plight. What did you guys expect? Right? It's like, yeah, they might have been 304s in times past, but they can't stay 304s forever. I mean, or else podcasts like this would be irrelevant, right? Like, if we trying to help them or not, right? Because I don't think what we should presume is that they stay in their first form, base form forever. They gotta eventually level up, come to Christ in some way. But
Yeah,
listen,
but there's a short-sightedness in people that think like that. There's a short-sightedness in that, because okay, let's take me and you as an example. Let's say if you've never messed up in your whole life, Nick, you know how far you reach, and let's say I messed up. I do mistakes. That puts me in a setback, right? I go to prison. I stumble greatly. Now, when I come to Christ, guess what? You're still way ahead of me, light years ahead of me. And I have to catch up, and I may not ever catch up to that point because you were still in that walk while I just came into it. You see what I'm saying? And this is what people don't understand about progress and momentum. When you always did the right thing, now you might think of me as a baby, as I don't know what I'm talking about. I think I'm holier than thou. Oh, I think I know better. But you're like, hold on, bro, you just got into this walk. Take it easy. There's years and steps to this.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying, and you're right. We definitely have to be cognizant of the choices that we make because it does, I guess either propel or prevent us from being where we want to be in the future. However, what all I'm really saying is that like, are we to hold people for their mistakes all their lives? Because again, we know if you're really Christian, right, and you believe that book, the book is full of people with shortcomings, and it's not about keeping a record of wrongs. The same Paul that Christians love quoting all the time. Like this dude was persecuting all the believers during his time, and then he had to literally come to his moment of realization and realize all he believed in times past was wrong. So again, I'm not here to really condemn people for their past, but essentially that's the dichotomy we're living in, right? Because to one extent, you have these people who are reformed or trying to reform themselves or cosplay, right? But to the other extent, we have people who are probably looking at it and like, man, they just cosplaying. They're not serious. They're not taking the Most High serious. And here's the thing, right? I mean, okay, so for the people in the chat, do you guys believe that? Do you guys believe that every single person that comes to Christ if they had like a whole phase or they were running the block in times past, do you think they all faking? I think it's dangerous because I personally don't want to adopt that mindset. I think there are some people who are genuine and they really just trying to change. But
Here's the problem. Here's
sure.
the problem. Here's the problem. Like I said before, when you've been in this walk for a long time, there's a lot of things that you encounter, that you experience, that you know.
Mhm.
These people that just came to Christ, they don't know they don't know a lot of things, right? They don't even know how to rightly divide the word. They don't, they're gonna argue doctrines and theology, and they're not gonna peep the bigger messages. You know how long
They
it took
when
us
you, when you say
think
when you
about
say
it for.
that when you say
Mhm.
they are not, why you put such a definitive aspect to it? Like they never gonna come to the truth, or
It's
is
okay. It's one thing okay. This is when you search for the truth, or you search for a sense of morality or righteousness. When you think you arrive at it, a lot of people become complacent, right? They don't search any longer. But there's levels to it, right? For instance, we always grew up in Christianity.
yeah
Then we became somewhat like Hebrew Israelite, and then now we've become we kind of transcended that into a certain degree where we have more understanding and knowledge and understand the whole Christendom, the whole, the Abrahamic faith as a whole, how it functions, right?
right
But now, if you are still, and there's still much more to learn,
for sure.
if you don't have that hunger for truth, you're going to stay stagnant.
But what I'm saying, all I'm saying is that perhaps they the same way we had to grow, let these people grow. They too got to go through their journey and stumble and shit on themselves, but that's part of the journey. But
But now
they
here's
can't
this.
they
What
can't
if, what
remain.
if, what if they now lose faith and lose heart because it's not easy to do the right thing?
I hear you, but I say in the context of this video, bro, I all I'm saying is that look, are they to just stay hoes all their life? That's what
No,
I'm discussing. Yeah, no. So I
no.
know it sounds funny, but just sticking to what she's saying, there's truth to it.
Yeah, but you can't.
Rahab the harlot can't remain a harlot all her life.
Yeah, but you can't expect people to all of a sudden now trust you immediately.
Cool, and I think that's both valid.
We know what it is. We know you want this.
Come on now, ma'am. You know a lot of church girls still be going. On Saturday nights, a lot of church girls are still getting folded like chairs.
Y'all 30, 40, even pushing 50 out here still living in the same cycles. Like, come on, grow up. Grow up. Listen, Jesus love the hoes. Yeah, I said it. Jesus love the hoes. Now, that doesn't mean you remain a hoe. But in the Bible, there were prostitutes that Jesus touched their heart and restored them and told them to go and be free. And guess what? He didn't judge them. He loved them. He loved them, okay? So what are we talking about here? Y'all mad because people actually grow, develop, change, and mature? Y'all mad because she done got some self-worth and found Jesus, so now you know it's a wrap for you?
Nah,
Yeah.
it's not. That's not why. That's not why. I think most people are. I think most people where they have like, I guess, some reservations is because people use that as a license to do whatever they want and thinking they could come to Christ at any time they want to. It's almost like you've been a shitty person all your life, and on your deathbed, oh, Christ, accept me, and people will say you'll be saved. That's what it feels like. It's not the changing and remorse and converting to Christianity that's the problem. It's the mindset of I can do whatever the hell I want, and God is so loving that all I have to do is repent and He'll accept me.
I think we could go even deeper than that. I don't think it's like it's coming to church, right, or Christianity, and still doing the same antics as you did when you were out there. Like I think that like if you this is why I like dating right, because if you guys look at some of the B-roll as he's playing the videos, you'll see like these girls, they have the same trends. They put on their clothes and they got to do a 360, right? Why is that? Why do we got to see the clothes that you put on? And people might be like, "Oh, it's not that deep." No, but what I'm saying is that like if you claim you coming for Christ, then okay, then just do that. I don't need to know how you dress. I don't need to know any of that stuff, right? But not this is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. Like they had the same silly antics that they have when they were out there in the world, but now they just like the video says, just cosplaying or rebranding themselves. I'm a Christian girl now. Nah. You see, and here's the thing, right? If you just read the book and you actually ask yourself, like, okay, how are women supposed to conduct themselves? You'll see 9 times out of 10 is not what they displaying out here. It's not. Even and me, to each their own, but even the praise dancing, I still don't know how that gets you any closer to Christ. I don't. I've always questioned it. And I think that's why he's putting it there too. These women dancing in front of the church. Where is that? Where is that ever in the book? Just whatever, man.
Hey, they're gonna be like David dance.
If you ask any Christian girl what she used to do back in her prime, you're gonna hear shit you've never heard before. Any girl that all of a sudden has like Bible verses in her bio and shit, or started going to church every Sunday, is always the biggest eater. The worst are the like reformed hoes that all of a sudden want to be high and mighty and tell everybody else what to do. Like, no, just because you had 48 trains ran on you in college and you feel bad about it does not mean you have to ruin it for the rest of us.
One thing, there is no such thing as a hoe phase, okay? If a hoe had a phase, she's a hoe always. That is not something that comes and goes. It's something that's in you and it's going to always be in you. Don't let no hoe tell you no different. It is not a human, common, lived female experience to have to go through a whole phase. I ain't never been through no whole phase. I guess maybe I should define what a whole phase is. You know what? It don't really matter because however you define it, I guarantee you it does not apply to my life. I ain't never had no whole phase. I don't even know what you mean by that. But if you know a woman that had a whole phase, she's a hoe always. I promise you. Don't let her tell you no doggone different. That ain't nothing women need to do just to get on through life as a female, be a hoe for a time. That don't make no sense. That's not a common lived experience. Little girls.
I agree with her. And I think this is you see what I mean about the dichotomy? Like the dichotomy is that you see, is it essentially can people change? Because that's what that girl was advocating. She was just like, you're mad because people actually changed and they actually have their come into Jesus moment. But then you have these women like this one, which I'm not necessarily mad at, because what she's saying I think is valid too. You don't need a whole phase. It's kind of weird that you thought you did. It's not a normal female experience. But here's the thing: there's so many women that have it nowadays. So now, in those moments, are they allowed to change, or are we gonna hold them in prison for the rest of their lives for their past mistakes?
But here's the thing. I agree with you. We shouldn't hold them. If they want to do better with their lives, we should encourage them to do better. But the mentality, I'm pretty sure most of these night walkers, they knew God at one point, or they at least heard of him. Because
So
we live in a Christian society. I'm pretty sure you know these values already.
Can I push
Even
back?
if you're not religious, you know this is not an appropriate behavior.
So can I push back a bit?
Go ahead.
So what of the prodigal son? Now, did he not already know his father? And we know the father represents God, right?
Right.
He knew his father. He spent
Mm-hmm.
time with him all his life. Just because you know something, that doesn't mean that you really live in the life or
Right.
understand, or rather, you don't. That doesn't mean you actually appreciate what you have until, like the prodigal son, you squander all your riches going out there.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. These women, they might have grew up in the church, probably heard of Christ, but they squandered their riches. They squandered their goods, aka the V card, right? They get their V card swiped real fast. And then now at the age of 43, that's their coming back to Jesus moment. Like, damn, I messed up. 9 guys asked me to, right? The prodigal son didn't even realize what he had until he was sleeping with a bunch of swine,
Yeah. Oh, a good analogy.
right? It took him having to sleep with swine in order for him to realize, like, man, even the servants in my father's house is living better than what I'm doing right now. Let me go back.
Yeah, like I said, man, it's repenting, coming back to the creator. That's not an issue, right? But don't expect people to like believe you, honestly.
I
That's something personal between you and the creator. Because a lot of people didn't believe Apostle Paul, and rightfully so, right?
Indeed.
The eldest son was just like, yo, I've been with you this whole time, right?
Yeah.
So don't expect people to believe you. We got to see action.
And,
You will
okay.
know them by their fruits. You will know them by their fruits. And that's why that girl said, once a 304, always a 304. That's why she said that. You will know them by their fruits. It's hard to believe people transform when they have a record already, a history, and a pattern.
Yeah.
Running around swinging on the monkey bar, sliding down the slide, playing double dutch, and everything is good. All of a sudden, boom, she got a period. Now she got a period for decades on end, every month. And that's an experience that every female got to go through. That transition right there. Every female ain't got to transition through being no hoe. That ain't normal. That ain't standard, and we not gonna normalize it. If that woman had a whole phase, she is a hoe always. Promise you that. Full stop.
I don't know, guys. I'm starting to simp a little bit, man. I feel bad for these women. It's like, can a woman's past be wiped clean or erased or just, looked over? Now, of course, there's levels to some of these women's passes, but yeah, man, it's like these women can't catch a break when it comes to their past body count and things like that.
Can I be honest with y'all? I'm not proud of shit I've done in my life, but I'm also just not ashamed of it. Like, shit happens. Some shit probably shouldn't happen, but it still did happen. Like, what the fuck can I do about what done already happened? But yeah, I'm talking about shit because it's done already happened and I made peace with my life. Y'all don't have to make peace with my life. Y'all can be mad. Y'all can judge. Y'all can scrunch your face up and, how dare she? Oh, she's nasty. Oh, this dirty bitch. Oh, this 304. Y'all can do all that. If you want to do that, you want your face to start ringing because you over here scrutinizing another person, that's on you.
Anyway, so yes, I was 304. I guess you would say that. Like, I really was just doing nothing, but it came from the fact I really ain't love myself, because no one loved me. Like, my mom and dad really wasn't the type of parents that was telling me how pretty I was, like jazzing me up and making me feel good about myself. I ain't gonna hold you. Like,
Lord, she gonna blame her parents. It sounds like she had both parents in her life too.
I ain't gonna hold you. Like, my parents are very bare minimum parents. Like, just did what they had to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't nothing extra. It wasn't no encouragement, reassurance. All that shit really just wasn't going on. And then as I grew up, I also didn't have that from, like, friends and shit. I always kind of like a weird, quiet girl. How I was treated at home really poured into how I acted around other people. And even as an adult, I still have these tendencies and these insecurities where I kind of just, like, force myself to fade into the background. I don't really feel as confident about myself as I should. I dim my light a lot. Like, it's a lot, y'all. So, of course, when it came to men, I wasn't used to no male attention. I was never that girl that was getting eggs. Like, elementary, middle school, high school, really was not that girl. So, even when I was in high school, my first boyfriend, well, okay, I had another boyfriend, but I don't really count that. My first, like, long-term boyfriend, I only agreed to be with him because he liked me. I didn't even like him. He was never my type. Like, never my type. But for me, it just felt nice to feel like, oh, somebody.
And she's laughing, but so why did you go with him? You see, this is
Well,
disgusting behavior. But she said
well,
it.
she said she was never loved before, so she was
Yeah,
the first guy that loved her. She gravitated towards him.
that's it. And we could have a bigger discussion about, us as men and, I guess showing the proper love to our daughters, but I feel like that's a whole nother discussion.
Likes me. Somebody wants to talk to me. Someone wants to be with me. So I let him be with me. And when he started being very much terrible, abusive, and all type of shit, I still stood with it because, like, I don't think nobody else want to be with me. It took me forever to find you to want to be with me. So what the fuck? So then after that, I met another dude. And he actually was my type. Someone that I thought would never like me. Like, dudes I found attractive never found me attractive. So I started feeling myself like, oh yeah, I'm that girl. I could get a nigga. Like, when a bitch never had no niggas before, how they be acting. That was me. I ain't never had it before. So I finally had him. Like, yeah, I'm that girl. So I just was out here entertaining anything and doing anything as things. Like, shit happens. It be like that. Does it make me any less of a woman? No, I still got a pussy. So I'm a girl, right? What the fuck? Does it make me any less of a mother? No, I didn't even have kids when all this shit was happening. Most of it was happening before my son was even born, which is crazy. We gonna talk about that, y'all. Because why was I being hunched on while I was pregnant? Like, I was single, though. But I know people think it's weird to be doing it. I honestly, looking back on it now, I even find it weird. Like, girl, you could have waited. Like, that is so weird. But
I think going to churches is something that's embedded in a lot of Americans' routine. I don't necessarily look at it like these women are running to God after, but I do commend them for doing that versus, running out there to drugs or alcohol or men or whatever. We know the church is a good start for anyone trying to, work on their mental health or deal with anything. And it's actually a good thing that a lot of people are returning back to the church, especially in these crazy times we're living in. I feel like one of the reasons most women return back to the church is because they can feel a sense of community there. It's like the follow the society normal thing to do, like to just go to church on a Sunday. But all in all, I think if these women are going to church looking for husbands or men to date, they're looking in the wrong places, I believe, because a lot of the guys that's in the church, they already married, right? And also the other half of the guys are already in relationships, a lot of them. And for the guys that go to church as singles, man, they done ran through most of those women in the church already. Like, those guys are players. I hate to say it, but it's true. So I think the church is the last place a lot of these women need to be looking for a man. But hey, it can happen. Some women do meet men in the church. There's a percentage of it that could happen. But that's all I got in this video. If you guys drop a comment.
Yeah. So you have any last words, bro?
So I believe it's Ezekiel 18, right? And when the Most High says, if you turn from your wicked ways and do good, I will remember your sins no more. Right? He said, all your wickedness will be never counted if you turn from it. But if you were righteous and you became wicked, none of your righteousness counts any longer. So I bring this up to say that, the only way for you to change your life is by keeping the commandments of the Most High. One of my favorite verses is, I believe it's Psalm 19, right? It literally says that the word of the Lord, the laws of the Lord converts the soul, right?
Right.
So for many Christians listening, it would be beneficial if you keep the commandments of the Most High, because that's the only thing that can save you. If you truly want to walk this walk, keep the commandments of the Most High. Because that's the only thing that can save you. That's the only thing that can make you moral. Um, yeah, and and to teach and to tell girls out there, you don't have to have a 304 phase, because you see the end result of it anyway. You're just gonna get used, abused, lost, and then what? Just to come back to church? It's not. It makes no sense. What say you, Nick?
Yeah, I think to avoid repeating what you said, the only thing I got is that if anybody could find me one woman that legitimately after a 3 or 4 phase, they just 100% happy with their lives, then by all means follow it then. But I have never seen it. I've never seen not one woman come online and say that it was worth it. It was worth having trains run on them. It was worth opening up their legs and now they're a single mother. It was worth. You see, like that's the reason why this thing is even a trend to begin with. That's the reason why coming back to church is even a thing, because they realizing they're not satisfied. There's a void, and the thing is, like if I've always said this, right? There are some people in life that have to touch fire in order to know that fire burns.
Mhm.
Me, I like to look at people touch fire in order to know that fire burns. I don't gotta live that experience out myself. That's the reason why books exist. That's the reason why videos exist. People are sharing wisdom and knowledge. They made the mistake so that you don't have to go through it.
Yeah.
And what in your mind possesses you to think that you're going to be the person that's different? That's pride, which is the beginning of all sin, right? It's pride. You think that you're going to be the one to crack the code to touch fire, and somehow you're going to be dancing with it in your arms. You're going to be serenading fire, right? You think you're going to be the one to do it? Okay, go ahead. You go do that. For me, there's an aspect of it where, again, with all this information that exists, do I feel sorry? Maybe, perhaps, but not really. I think a lot of these people they ought to learn from one another by now. Learn from your fellow man. I've never seen the whole phase benefit anybody. So I just think that look, y'all, cause we come out here all the time and we do these videos. You guys, the whole phase has never worked. It will never work. So just like that woman said, that's not a normal experience that you have to as a woman go through. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. And we also have to say, just as there's a whole phase, men, you don't need a whoremongering stage. That's equally important too. Men, you don't need to smash every woman as because that's not a rite of passage. Sleeping with as much women as you can, that doesn't make you a man. That's um I felt like I should say that as well.
If you guys like this video, please like, subscribe, comment down below, do all that YouTube stuff. Also in the description, We left the link to our Super Eugene Brothers channel as well. Please support that. With that being said, Nick James over and out. Jesus is King, y'all.
Subscribe.